Hey everyone, it's Tira with Rent Mason Bees. I did a little field trip today to Liz's house. She emailed me this week asking me what are these tiny little flies all over my Mason bee house. And I explained to her that they are Houdini fly. And you can see how teeny tiny they are. They're about the size of a fruit fly. They have these little red eyes, and they are a kleptoparasite and very dangerous and bad for our mason bees. We're starting to see a rise of these bad predators in the Pacific Northwest, and we are asking all of you, if you see these around your bee house, to please email us at info@rentmasonbees.com. We are working with Abigail at UC Davis, who just got a grant to study Houdini fly. Because they are so damaging to our solitary mason bee population, she's going to start studying them to learn, and we need your help. If you start seeing these little tiny black flies flying around your house, your bee houses, please email us at info@rentmasonbees.com with your address and your phone number so that we can contact you and tell you a little bit about what we're working on to prevent these in the future. What this little Houdini fly does, being a kleptoparasite, it relies on the mason bee nesting chamber. So Mama Mason Bee's gone in, she's capped it with mud, she's collected pollen for her baby, she's laid an egg. Well, that Houdini fly waits for Mama Mason Bee to leave. It crawls into the hole and it lays its babies inside the mason bee nesting chamber. Abigail said in one chamber she's found the most of 75 Houdini fly larvae in one nesting chamber. So imagine that. Mason bee mud plug, pollen, mason bee baby, 75 Houdini fly capped with mud. And inside are the babies of the Houdini fly that emerge in spring with your mason bees. So Liz wasn't aware of the proper care and maintenance. Hello, little bee. Liz wasn't aware of the proper care and maintenance, and we're teaching her like we like to teach all of you. These are adorable, cute bee houses. It is bamboo that's never been cleaned. It's not 6 inches deep, and they're super glued in the back so you can't get to it. So we are going to provide Liz healthy nesting material of a stacking tray. She's going to take these down. There's 3 of them here. She's going to take all 3 of these down and put them in a clear bin like I've taught you. And she's going to release the bees, but not release the Houdini fly. And then she's going to put the clean, healthy material right where these bee houses are. Your mason bees that have started their nesting aren't going to be too happy with you, but that's okay. They're going to go find other holes in your yard, and in Liz's case, hopefully the new house that we provide her. So it's really, really important to use proper nesting material. We teach all the time about that. I get pushback, but why? In Mother Nature, they don't clean. Oh, I'm just going to let nature take its course. If you're putting out a bee hotel, you're now interfering with nature taking its course. It's a great thing to support your solitary bees, but you have to do proper care and maintenance. The 3 things: clean nesting material out at the beginning of spring. You're removing this nesting material at the end of spring and storing in a cool garage or shed, because the mason bees only live about 6 to 8 weeks. And then in the fall, you're opening everything up and cleaning. So it's really important to, if you're hosting bees, which is fabulous because you're creating a habitat, you're also taking care of maintaining them. So if you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call or email us at info@rentmasonbees.com. And we are really, let's call it the Houdini hunt. We're hunting for Houdini. We would love your help in finding where they're located so Abigail can start pinning and tracking where we're seeing a lot more Houdini fly. So appreciate you tuning in today. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I teach and do lots of videos online. I really want to thank Liz, who's on the other side of the camera filming this for me today, and letting all of us teach you about these Houdini fly. There's one here, and I see one there, and I see one there. You can see how teeny tiny they are. And then there we'll end with a happy little bee poking his head out. All right, so I just left Liz's house and I realized I forgot to tell you guys how, if you do see Houdini fly, to remove them or trap them or try to get rid of them. There are a couple different techniques. Rick from It's All the Buzz is sharing a technique that he's using right now using Tanglefoot, where he's lining the outside of the black house, not the nesting block, but the Houdini flies seem to rest on the houses, so you can trap some of them that way. We're also hearing reports that people are using this bug sucker that they can just kind of suck it up, but there's warning, it gets addicting. If you're sucking up Houdini fly, you can go around and get them and not the mason bees. And then squishing them, the good old method of squishing them is the other way. And on my drive home, I spoke with Abigail from UC Davis, and she just sent me a link she wants me to send to all of you. If you do spot Houdini fly in your yard, I'll link it down below, but please click this link, fill out the form. She's calling it the Houdini Fly Hunt because we are on the hunt for Houdini fly, and we need to find a way of getting rid of them or managing them so that they're not taking over. Another thing I forgot to mention is they lay about 250 babies in their lifetime. So if you have Houdini fly, they will eventually completely take over your entire mason bee population over years. And as you saw with Liz's nest, there were so many flying around. So we're going to transition her stuff over to healthy nesting material. You can do the same. I think that was a Houdini fly that just flew out over the camera. And again, give us a call if you have any questions. Click the link below if you do see Houdini fly, and we will work on all of this together as a team. All right, thank you everyone. Happy pollinating. Bye. First thing we're going to take a look at is this cell, and all those sticky, wiggly yellow things are Houdini fly larvae. And how the Houdini fly works is she waits for the mom mason bee to leave the nesting chamber, and she flies in and lays all her eggs in the cell that the mom mason bee is making for her baby. So inside that cell, there will be pollen and a mason bee and then a mud plug, but the mason bee doesn't realize that a Houdini fly got in and laid all her babies. And, you know, 1, 2, 3, I mean, there's probably 20 or 30 little tiny baby Houdini fly in that one cell. It consumes all the pollen and the baby mason bee, and then these little Houdini fly will stick around until the spring, and they'll emerge with the mason bee, and they'll repeat the cycle of going in and utilizing the mason bee nesting chamber for her own babies. We get asked a lot of time what this fluffy stuff is next to inside some of these cells. Well, that is frass, and frass means poop, and that type of fluffiness is the Houdini fly frass. So that's Houdini fly poop that you see there. You can see there's some more. They crawl along and they add to that chamber. There's some more frass from the Houdini fly. So, all right, let's take a look at a couple of other things.